to Tech Tuesday presented by Delta Media Group, where we're working on this new theory about inertia. But for the life of us, we just can't seem to get it to gain any momentum. So, today we are going to go about things a little bit differently than we normally do in a Tech Tuesday. Normally we jump straight into the DeltaNet and just take you through some functionality there. But today we are going to look at things more from the customer point of view. So what we're going to do is take a look at the portfolio interface that actually shows up on your public website for those customers that have made a request or signed in and created a portfolio account. That way you can kind of get an idea of what things look like from their point of view and what kind of functionality they have on the website. So, in order to get into the portfolio account, the first thing we would need to do is either sign up or log in. So I'm ultimately going to log into an existing account here so that we can take a look at some things that are already set up. However, if I were a customer just coming to your website for the first time, I could click on sign up if I just wanted to create an account, and that takes me to this page, to this interface where I can put in my information and sign up for a new portfolio account. Or a new account would be created for me automatically if I make a request on your website. So if I go and run a property search, for example, and then I save the search with this heart up here, or I save an individual listing, in all these cases I'll be prompted to create an account so that the system has something to save that search or that listing to. The same happens if I go to a detail page for property and I click on request information and ask for more information. Or if I click on Tour This Home, it takes me down here to the showing request form, so if I fill that out. And then lastly, if I click on Contact and go to the Contact page and fill this out, in all of those cases, the system will create a portfolio account for me so that I can log back in later on, save additional listings, additional searches, see any information related to my account, and ultimately kind of configure that account. So we're going to go ahead and log in and take a look at the interface and see what the customers see. So I'm going to click on Login, and that opens up our modal here, and we'll put in this test account email address. If I can remember the password, we'll be in good shape. And there we go. Now we're logged in. So having logged into our customer account, I could then start just running searches using the website normally, and any of the things that I do, the listings I view, all that'll be saved to my account, or I can save favorites for listings, things like that. But if I click on My Account, that will actually take me into the portfolio interface. So you can see the first page here, you have kind of a convenient property search so that they can start searching for properties from here if they'd like. And there's a little description about what this interface is about, as well as some shortcuts to each of the different pages they can get to in here and what those different pages do. So we'll just go ahead and run through this stuff up here one by one so you can see what we have here. First, we have messages. So if I click on that, you can see it opens up this messages interface. Now there are no messages here now, but this interface rather, is specific to messages that are we'll call them portfolio account messages. So these are messages that you would create in the DeltaNet that will show up for your specific customers within this interface. So to see that, we'll just jump over to the DeltaNet, and we'll go into this customer, and we'll just search for them by email address. Now know that you can go over here to CRM or down to your customer center right there, or customer list, and you can find your customers that way. But the easiest and fastest way is to just put their email address or their name up here. You can see they pop up in the autocompleter and view customer info, and here we are. So we're on their profile page. So I'm going to scroll down here to the messages section. There we are, and I'm going to send a new message. Now I'll add in real quick, email is obviously sending an email and not sending a message for the portfolio account, but I'll add in also that this is different than sending an SMS message. So this send new SMS message is available to you if this customer is opted into receiving SMS messages and you have the virtual phone number stuff turned on, and we have videos specific to the virtual phone number stuff. But if those are the stars are aligned there, then you can click on this button and send them a text message. That is not the same as clicking on send new message. So if I send new message, we'll just say this is my message. Check out my great message. So the idea here is I'm giving the message a title and some content, so normally I'd be more descriptive than this, but this is also that it will show up in, as it says here, in the messages widget on the customer's profile. So we'll hit send message. There we go. So now our message is created. Now we'll go back over to the website, and if we refresh this messages page, you can see now we have our message. And then the customer from here, they can mark it as read. They can delete it, but deleting it just deletes it from their interface. It doesn't delete it from the message history in the DeltaNet. Or they can reply to it. So we'll go ahead and click a reply, and this is my reply. Send. So there we go. So now if we look in the DeltaNet and we refresh our messages here, you can see that the message is in here, and then here is a reply to the message. And if we click on that, this is my reply. There's the message. So just like that. Now the only other thing I'll add here is that if I click send new message, you see I can send a notification via email of the message also. So this doesn't send them an email, it just, well, it does send them an email, but it doesn't send them your message content in the email. It's basically a notification to say that they have new messages that they can log into your website and see. So it can also be a nice tool to kind of drive them to your website whenever they want to see something that you've tried to communicate with them via these messages. All right, so we'll close that out. Now back over here to the portfolio interface. Now the next thing we have here is favorites. So if we click on that, these are all the properties that this customer has favorited before or that you've added as favorites for them through the DeltaNet. So again, on their profile page, we can scroll up a bit and find the saved properties section, and I could create saved properties for them here, and those will show up in this interface for them among all the properties they've saved for themselves on the website as well. Now from here, we have a few convenient things that you can do. I mean, they can sort this by some different criteria if they want to see the list in a different way. They can click more info to go through to the detail page on your website for that listing, or they can even add some notes or submit a request from here. So if they wanted to jump in here and say, I want additional information, they can submit requests right from the listing. So here we are, request additional information, and then you can see the little modal pops up here where they can actually make a request on that listing, just right from this page to kind of make it more convenient for them. Now the next thing we can do is we'll go over to saved searches. Now from here, they can see any searches that they have saved on the website, so they would just be listed out here. They have a way of adding a saved search, so if I click on that, and we'll give it a moment through here, it takes us through to the search results page, and then from here I can go ahead and put a search together. So we'll just add an area and put a little additional criteria in here. There we go. And we'll do a price, a nice wide price range. Want to make sure we have some results here, and save it. So now I can give this a name. So we'll just call it Canton Saved Search. And in this case, it'll run every 2 days, depending on what functionality you have here. They may be able to have it run instantly, so as soon as a new listing comes on the market, they get notified of it. But we'll save this, and now we'll go back into our portfolio account. You can see it indicates what's been saved. And now go back to our Save Searches tab, and then there's our Saved Search. So they have some things that they can configure here. They can change the search name, they can modify their search a bit, or they can just run this search so that they can see what kind of results it's producing when they actually come to the website on this page. Now, the saved searches that would also show here are ones that you create through the DeltaNet. So if we go back in here and go to our Saved Searches and MarketWatch section, I could click Add a Saved Search and use the DeltaNet property search to create one, and that would show up in their list here also, so they can see all the searches that are saved for them. Now the nice thing about that, well, I mean, there are a variety of nice things about that, but one of those things is that by default they'll be getting email notifications whenever a new listing comes on the market that matches their search. They can configure all that here, so they don't actually have to opt out of email if they don't want to get those. They can just come here and turn that off, or turn off just the email for an individual search, which is nice because then they could still have the search saved. They could still come to your website and run it whenever they want if they don't want to get the emails. So, just turn those off and still be able to have the search in here and interact with it. And they can add some notes to the search as well if they have some more things that they want to basically attach to this search. So there you go. So the next thing we have here is MarketWatch reports. So if we go over to that, you can see I already have some MarketWatch reports attached to this customer account, but that's what this is all about. You can see those MarketWatch reports. They can preview them from here. So these are the reports that give them information about whatever market they're targeting. And they can also create new ones from here. Again, just like with saved searches through the DeltaNet, you have this Save Search and MarketWatch report section. Any MarketWatch report you create for them, they can also interact with here. So they can see those, see the next time they're expected to get one, remove them if they want, if they don't want to receive them anymore, or preview them if they want to see them right from this page. Now the next thing they can do is they can view all of their viewed properties. Now this takes a little time to update sometimes. So the way this runs, it doesn't instantly update with their most recently viewed properties. So if I go through and I view a bunch of properties on the website, it'll be a little while before they show up here. But it is nice to kind of keep a history. So if they go, do a lot of searching one day, view a lot of different properties, and then come back another day, they'll say, oh, well, maybe there's a property that I looked at 3 days ago that I'm interested in seeing again, but they can't remember what it was, or they didn't save it as a favorited property. They can still go to this page and they can come in here and see it. Now the next thing we have is my home value. So if we click on that, you can see I have one set up in here. Now if I click on Create New Home Value Report, it's just going to take me to the AVM page, or basically the AVM address submission page. So if I went here and put in a property address and hit search, it would take me to the AVM page for this that gives me the valuation of that property. And then it would also save it in here so that it's real easy for me to come in, pull it back up later on if I want to. These price estimates are always changing. It's kind of the nature of the market, as you know. So it's good that it saves what they've run in here before so they can go in and pull it up really easily in the future. Now, typically, customers don't have several properties in here. Normally they're pricing their own property because they're thinking about selling it, so they just have the one. But if they are running multiple, they'll be all laid out in here so they can get to them really easily. Now the next piece we have is your selling stats. Now this one, I will warn you, can take a while to load. It depends a lot about how long that listing has been on the market, but that's what this amounts to. It's going to show us selling stats related to any property that the customer has attached themselves to, or rather that you've attached the customer to. So here we are. You can see we've got a more recent listing, and it has a timeline in here. So this is how many times it's been viewed, number of impressions versus detail views. So to explain what each of these metrics mean, we've got date listed is obvious enough, and this one has some data on it, so we'll take a look at this one. This one's also why the page took a little longer to load, because this is a test property that's been on the market for probably years. So it has a lot of history attached to it, is why the page took so long. But we have our property address, primary photo. We can jump to the listing real quick or view a market watch that is centered on this listing quickly, so nice convenient ways to do that. We have just a timeline breakdown. If there were any open houses on this listing, you can see those. Scheduled showings you'd be able to see on here also, so a nice timeline breakdown of what's going on with this listing. We have our price. We have the date it was listed. We have the number of detail views, so this is actual views of the listing detail page. And then we have impressions. So this isn't views to the listing detail page, this is every time this listing appeared on a search results page. So if it came up within the results set, anytime it came up within the results set, this number will be counted up. And then only if someone clicks on that listing from the results to go to the detail page will the detail views number count up. So that's the difference between those two numbers. Next, requests is the number of requests that have been made on this listing. So anytime someone asked for more information or asked for a showing, that counts that number up. And then open houses, obviously, are how many open houses have happened on this listing. So you can see it's a nice, convenient dashboard that a seller can use to see some basic information about their listing. Now to add a seller to a listing, now we have other videos, and we'll have some new videos coming where we kind of detail everything you can do related to listings. But just to kind of show you for now, if we go in here, you have under saved properties, we can look at this at listings interested in selling. So we can see that that one listing is there. That is one way to add that in. And then also, if you go to your listings page, and I'll go ahead and copy this primary email address so we can get back here real easy. But I'll go to listings, manage my listings, and we'll go to our all around road listing and just click on the MLS ID there and go over to sellers. And there you can see that is how that is set. So if I wanted to add a customer to a listing as a seller, I could just type their name here, and it will bring up all the matches with the autocompleter, and then I just click on the one I want to add, and it drops them into this list. And at that point, this listing will show up on their selling dashboard. Alright, so we'll switch back to our profile page, just in case we need that again. It disagrees that time. Oh, because that customer just made a new request is why. So we'll go ahead and process our lead. While we were fiddling around, we made a brand new request. So we'll process this one manually. There we go. All right, so on down the road. So the next thing we have here, and you can see we can zoom in and out of our timeline here, which is kind of neat. But now we'll move up. So those are our selling stats. The next thing we have is agents worked with. So if I click on that, if this customer account based on email address has a portfolio account that belongs to multiple agents, they do have the ability to kind of choose who they want to work with here. So that's what this is for. In this case, this particular customer account, or I should say the email address associated with this customer account, is only attached to a customer account that is assigned to a single agent, which is this agent account. So if, for example, a customer came in and they went to multiple agents' websites and made a request on different agents' websites, they would have an account attached to each one of those agents. All of those agents would show up here so that they can either request removal if they don't want to work with that agent for whatever reason. They can log in from here to log into that agent's website's or their portfolio account on that agent's website, so it could have different information attached to it, or they can just shortcut to that agent's website. So the next piece we have here is account details. So if we go over here, this is how the customer can modify any of the information related to their customer account. So they can change their password here. They can modify their various information related to their account here. They can also manage any subscriptions they have set up. So this is kind of a shortcut to basically the email opt-out page is what this amounts to. So if I use that button, it will take me to a page where I can decide which market watches and saved searches I want to continue or which ones I want to remove, which is basically the same thing that I can do for my saved searches and market watch reports page here. But in addition to that, I can opt out of various kinds of email if I want, or I can opt in to SMS messages. So this allows them to manage all that in a nice, convenient way that allows them to get to it without presenting it as an unsubscribe option like it shows up on the emails. Now the next thing they can do is they have this account data functionality. Now this was kind of a result of all the GDPR things that happened a couple years ago, I believe. But what this allows them to do is request that all of their data be deleted. As part of GDPR regulations, we have to supply all customers with the ability to remove all their data if they want to. And then they can also request to download all of that data. So if they just want kind of a zip file that has all of their customer data in it, everything we have related to them, then they can use this button to download that information as well. So there you have it. Now the last option we have here is log out. And that does exactly what it sounds like. It just logs them out of their portfolio account. So there you have it. That is what the portfolio interface looks like for customers today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, feel free to reach out to our support team by emailing support@deltagroup.com or giving us a call, and we can walk you through this or anything else you'd like. So thanks a lot for joining me again. And as always, I will see you again next week. Thanks a lot.